Um, Hello. Today I'm gonna be trying to make a little tutorial for Finale 1 True Funnelless route. This is the current world record route for Finale 1, and there are a lot of different route variations. There are some slower routes that are more consistent that you're gonna need to be aware of if you want to do this route. And I hope I can compile this all for you guys. Also, note I recently just switched to Vulkan. It was a weird thing that happened, but I think my game's still caching the textures, so I might have like a huge lag spike or something. I'll try to avoid that in the footage, but be warned. So the map starts. I just had my forward speed. The map starts with like your standard hops. You wanna exit the elevator with I think it's 209 ground frames. That's the goal, and you wanna get some smooth hops directly onto the faith plate. That's fastest. And when you pick up the cube, you want to pick it up as early as possible, but if the cube bounces off of the faith plate and kind of crosses this line after it bounces, the legs aren't going to extend during the footlong, so the run's going to be completely over. Um, you could still do funnelless without footlong, but it's way slower, and you're probably gonna just want to do the footlong because like it's a hard route in general. It's not too hard to do the footlong. Okay, so now it's time for the first redirect. In the first redirect, you want to bounce directly off of the faith plate and land right onto this trigger, preferably on this side. Now you can also touch the ground if that makes you feel more comfortable or something. It's just a little bit slower, but to my knowledge, there's no inconsistencies. Now you're gonna hit the trigger like that, and you want to look straight up and look at -119. Doesn't really matter the angle after that, like any decimal point. And then I'm holding it. This is kind of a bad save, so I'm just going to reload the save to help with the lineup. Basically, you have it go, and now you look at 119, and now here's where you get the lineup. This is a bit tight, and it's kind of hard. There's this 2x2 frame here. If you're looking at my cursor at the top right, there's this 2x2 frame. I like to drop it after the cursor, after like the middle of my screen, goes past this line. My cursor's kind of like pointing at it here. After my mouse, or after like the center of my screen passes it, I like to drop it. So drop it. That was kind of late, but whatever. And now I got a somewhat bad boost. It's inconsistent, but at the same time, it can be much faster, and I'll talk about that in a second. I probably won't be able to get the clip of the faster boost because it's super rare. Now, the way I can tell that is because my velocity, the first number in my velocity is 740. If you get the easier strat, it's actually 650-ish. There, give or take like 10 units. So I like to look like roughly here. Actually, is pretty standard, like 51 and 157. And right after I pass here, I like to drop my cube. Like you gotta go really fast on this one, and you get a boost. And you might have to block it with a cube. So in this case, I got a weird boost. But if you're lucky, you'll land like closer to here and be able to just keep going and keep your speed. But I got a bad boost, and you can tell because you're gonna like land on the corner and you'll probably fall off. If that happens, when you're flinging to it, you want to just drop the cube and bonk into it and pick it back up. It shouldn't escape. Sorry, it shouldn't affect anything in the route. Actually, it should just be the same. Now, if you do bonk with a cube, it means you have to hop. So you'd have to do hops like this, and just do a circle jump to try to do the boost. Nothing too special with that. But next, I'm going to try to show the 650. So 119, drop, and then pick up. This is a good boost here. This is 650 roughly, so that means you're on for the good boost. Now, if you're unlucky, under your ground frames counter, it's going to say 1 when you jump, because you're going to have to spam your scroll wheel and jump. If it's 1 ground frame, the run's over, you're not going to get a far enough boost, but if it's 0, you're on a pretty good route. So, you look generally at angle like 52, 150, -156-ish, like somewhere near there. And I got 1 ground frame, you see. So that means when I drop it, you're going to have to do a foot long. In this case, I messed up the foot long anyway, but you're just not going to get a far enough fling. Alright, so you see I got the boost. I'm gonna look at 150, or I'm gonna look at 52. I'm gonna jump, and as you saw, I got 0 ground frames. So now that I got 0 ground frames, I can safely drop the cube, and I got a bad boost. A good boost is gonna aim you more towards the wall, but in this case I didn't. So that either means I gotta get a weird redirect, or I can bonk the cube. See, I had way too much speed, and I just kind of rolled off. I'm gonna cut to a clip now of me hitting it with a good boost and all. Drop, and then boom. That's what it looks like. So you see how I got clearly boosted to the right side? That is the most optimal and also like the most idiot-proof version. I don't know if it's something with angles. I've never really been able to hit it with much consistency. I didn't really have a trick to it. So it might be inconsistent, and you might have to do the other routes a lot more than the other one, or than this one, but this one is like by far the easiest one after that. So I'm gonna save quick, and now it is time for like the hops and the cube hop section. So when you do this, you're gonna want to ramp off your velocity and keep it going like this. See, pretty good hops, terrible cube hops. Now the CTG pattern is super simple. It's just hold crouch the entire time. And you're going to want to carry a lot of velocity, but you don't want to carry too much. Otherwise, there's like this weird seam in the ceiling, and you can bonk into that. So that's something you can keep in mind. See, that is an example of having too much velocity. Now, these hops aren't too bad, but the cube hops are kind of weird. So the first cube hop, you want to like hold A from your hops, and then have it kind of collide with this wall, like in between the catwalk and here. Jump off of it, and with enough practice, you'll be able to tell if you're gonna hit it. If you get a good jump off of this, you're probably gonna hit the catapult anyway. But if you get kind of a weird one, the run's over. So I'm gonna try to show an example of me doing the hop like that, and then I could tell that I got a good boost there. So I was able to get funnelless. You might not get a boost like that. It's somewhat inconsistent. So that's what it looks like. There isn't too much advice I can give. The only real advice I can give is if you're like really close, this loses a lot of time. So, but if you really just want to say that you hit the route, you can drop it on it and jump off of it and then keep it. Sometimes the legs even extend, as you can see there. So you could hit it. You could hit funnels like that. All right, on to the footlong. Also, this might have been like the shortest part of the tutorial, I guess, but it is like the most inconsistent and hardest part of it. So it's simple in theory, but there are a lot of inconsistent parts to it. Now, the footlong here, you can use this in funnelless or in like the normal route and just footlong. I like it because it relies a lot less heavily on timing and coordinates. I kind of just guess. You can look at my coordinates if you need like some help with that, but I kind of guess. So I'm here and I'm gonna look at roughly -50. I'm also gonna turn off these stupid triggers because they're getting in the way. Save quick. So I'm gonna look at roughly 50. And here's where it gets a bit weird. So you're gonna I like to drop it like right about here, when the top, like when this little line it kind of draws on the footlong, or on the Franken cube, kind of passes this little start of the platform. So I think time scale is gonna make the boost weird. Yeah, let me try this again. So you look at roughly 50 degrees, try to be as centered as possible, and then drop now, and then pick it back up. I then do kind of like a big flick over here, and then after some time I like to drop it again. This one was kind of bad. It's kind of weird timing. I only know it in like normal gameplay, so like you can look for those coordinates there. Usually, if you're having trouble, just like practice it for like 10 minutes or so, and you'll kind of get your line up. Now, time for the Fizzler boost. The Fizzler boost is kind of inconsistent, and there are two main routes. These two main routes are, one's hard, but it saves like a hop, maybe. I think more like half a hop actually. And then the second route is easier and slightly slower. So I'm gonna start with a hard route, and then I'll do the easy router. So you look down and go on this side of the catwalk, and you just hold A, and you got a circle jump, and if you get a good boost, you need to jump over this catwalk without doing a second jump, and that's where it gets hard. So I'll try to do it. See, I missed there, but this is where it's hard, is like you can speed lock. So hop, try to avoid it. I did, and then I didn't get enough speed, but I also missed this portal. This portal's pretty hard to hit. I'll try it again. Okay, got a weird boost. Not sure how that happened. That's good. That's like it. And then you just do your end. And now it's time for the easier route. The easier route is just like the same thing, except you can just jump, shoot. Super consistent, super easy. And then I'll just do like a quick thing on the end, because maybe you don't know it, but by this point you probably do. So you just want to redirect and then reportal. I messed up there. Weird save. So you redirect and then shoot the portals. Also, if you get like a weird boost where you get too small, you want to spam jump at the start to jump off this catwalk and hit right there. But yeah, that's Finale 1, and in a nutshell, like that's all my knowledge on it. Good luck.